Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And with the Prime Classic finally just around the corner, the OpTic Texas guys are of course going to get back in action. There's been a lot of talk the last couple of years. Whenever OpTic seem to play other games or do other things in their free time, a lot of fans might say, okay, well if they lose the tournaments, all of a sudden it's their fault for playing other games and not grinding Call of Duty 24 hours a day. The OpTic guys have come out and defended Dashy's time on Valorant, saying like, look, at the end of the day, if you're playing enough Call of Duty, you're dominant at other games, it's good to have a bit of downtime. And very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'll greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. A little bit of follow up here on Modern Warfare 2 as well. Maven says maybe call it 2 Modern 2 Warfare. But this is also just to mention a couple of challenges things going on. Doug's team, of course, going into the Elite Stage 3 qualifiers. Like these teams will also, we imagine, go to the Toronto kind of event as well, because they're doing a challenges event there alongside their main event, which is pretty cool. Same kind of story for Stage 4 as well, with the Boston kind of a challenges event going on 1 week before the Stage 4 major in New York, we believe. That at least is at the current goings on. Challenges, well, this is the following. Fellows replace Shawnee on the team of Sensor, Johnny, and Ghosty. So, well, they begin tomorrow. Pretty tough stuff actually for Shawnee, I believe. As Doug says right here, we love Shawnee. We wanted to keep him on the team, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. He has stuff outside of the game to take care of, and we had to find a replacement. So I think he maybe implied this as like visa type issues, which is obviously unfortunate, right, for players that are from the UK and stuff like Shawnee is to get out there and deal with the visa stuff, because of course, you know, if they want to be able to compete and play with him going forwards, he's going to have to get all that stuff sorted out. So hopefully he can work that out, but it's so difficult, right, because when you're part of a CDL organization, they can, in theory, if they're actually a good one, take care of that for you. But you know, when you're kind of a challenges player on your own, like it might be much more difficult to make that work, right? So hopefully everything works out for Shawnee, but that is Doug's team going forwards. Just to mention this actually as well, kind of confirmation from Journey that the Rokkr Academy team that surprisingly failed to qualify for their, of course, well, to come top 4 at their own Minnesota Open event and get to the Prime Classic. That was kind of the Spanish guys with Journey on. Journey got replaced on the team, and he's gone on to team with Yako Super and Eric Boom as well. So another very talented Spanish team that, you know, with Eddie Luck, Paris Get Ball Out, Heretics, or some other Spanish team comes in and actually forms a proper another European squad. Time will only tell if that will come true. This also just on Modern Warfare 2. LA Thieves is saying, okay, look, 3 things you want in Modern Warfare 2. Honestly, just good maps is number 1 for me. But you know, even as RC says on the topic, in all my years of COD, I think Gava 2 might be my least favorite Call of Duty competitive map. So that's quite the statement. Like some people were saying, okay, like what about Piccadilly or like some of these other awful search and destroy maps? But RC was like, look, at least that was only one like game mode, right? Like Guru 2, you've got to play it in Hardpoint and in Control. That's a lot of maps you've got to play day in, day out, right? So that's the thing. Some people have also been saying, okay, Berlin Control, is it really that good in league play and stuff? But you know, probably plays better than Guru 2, I don't know. Talk about that a bit more actually at the end of the video. And attached making his thoughts clear on Vanguard actually as well. So he does tweet this out when the game launches, like eventually, like you know, be the best COD of all time. Tweeted this about 6 months ago. How did the tweet age? Definitely closest crowd, Black Ops 2 or Vanguard close arguments. It's tough, but what puts Vanguard ahead for me is the realism of the game. You can shoot and run through doors. Black Ops 2 is just not realistic at all, so it did crack me up a little bit. Let's dive into this then, right? So the last few weeks, and even like last season a little bit, there was a point at times that, okay, if Dashy is going to play Valorant and stuff, and then he's not going to win in Call of Duty, like he should be putting all his time not into Valorant, but just into Call of Duty itself. And the last few days, obviously, like Dashy is just unbelievably talented at Valorant. It's actually quite absurd, like how he can just get into Radiant and be playing like with a load of the Valorant pros, and they all like respect his abilities in Valorant as like a very competent Valorant player. And also he's like one of the best gold players, if not the best in the world right now. So kind of incredible, like at some of the talents of this, because I've seen other players like Hydra, pretty sure just hopped on CSGO and was in a lobby with like Xantaras and some other top players and was just destroying them on Inferno. Like I don't understand how some of these COD kids do it. That's the thing, honestly, with controller pros. It's like you know, controller pros can switch to PC, and in fairness, they probably have experience with PC, right? Because everyone uses a computer, so you're used to kind of mouse and keyboards. Whereas if you're a PC pro and you switch to controller, like you're not necessarily going to use that if you're just a Counter-Strike or Valorant player or whatever. But like I don't know, it seems to me that there's so many controller pros that could like actually maybe go pro on keyboard or mouse, right? I don't even know. Some of these guys are just different. There's no doubt about it. It's born to be gamers, some of these kids, no doubt. We did look at this the other day, right? Because Dashy says the world's greatest FaZe, kind of a new agent they just added into Valorant. And Ye's like, of course, well, player on the OpTic Valorant team. Welcome to the team. Bet what time for practice. And he said a few times, right, like Dashy could be the 6th man of the OpTic Valorant team if they need a substitute. Like he's there to hop in if they need, because he plays a fair bit of it. And Rambo was like, okay, that's not happening. Make sure you focus on Call of Duty, right? But a couple of fake clips that come out from the stream. I think even Form was commenting on this, right? Saying you were just pressing stuff to kind of, you know, press stuff and mess around. But, you know, definitely some nice clips here from Dashy playing Valorant recently. And this is generally what he does in kind of his free time. He plays Call of Duty, plays his scrims, plays his matches. Maybe he plays a little bit of League play and ranked play here or there. But, I mean, the other time he's going to play a bit of Valorant, right? And it's obviously something that he enjoys playing. Keeps the kind of competitive spirits and competitive juices flowing, I suppose, to a degree. But, you know, also it's something he really enjoys playing in kind of his free time. But the thing is, it's been a point for some years now in Call of Duty that But like, you know, if you happen to be playing a different game than your kind of main game you're actually playing our competitor on, and then you don't win every single event you play, then some people are going to say, well, you should have just not played any Valorant at all and actually just played that game all the time instead. So the OpTic Halo pre-show comes out last night. I thought it was kind of interesting what Shotzzy and the rest of the guys had to say. The Dashy feels somewhat concerned that if he plays Valorant on stream too much, and that then of course things don't go too well at the COD events, then the fans are going to start saying, well, you should, you know, cut this down, right? And basically saying like he wants to stream Valorant off screen so he doesn't have to deal with that kind of potential criticism, right? Which is something that they don't really think is particularly valid. Everyone's got to take some breaks. That you can't play Call of Duty 24 hours a day. Like after the 8-hour days, you've got to do something else. Whether that's watch a film, whether that's play Valorant, like doesn't really matter. And obviously he's a game at the end of the day.
Dude, I looked over and Matt's playing Apex off like whenever they're done with scrims.
Yeah.
Oh, he likes
and he's
Apex
like
now?
already like almost diamond, like playing with like the Halo team. Yeah, Trippy and Lucid.
Grinds off stream.
Yeah.
Who does? Random.
Formal, Trippy, and Lucid.
I was just like, what the hell?
It was like my recent friends on Steam, and it said formal, and it was like 50 hours on Apex recently.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
you got to take into account. You know, the thing is
loves being good at video games.
Bro, I was telling Dashy, I'm like, yo, you should stream like your Valorant, like whatever. And then he's like, nah, I'm just afraid that the crowd's gonna be like that. I'm like, dude, just tell him the truth. Like, you have been playing this, and you're still the #1 ranked player, like in a lot of people's like ranks.
Yeah.
Right. So it's people need to be cool with the fact that, you know, when people take breaks from Call of Duty after they're done playing Call of Duty 8 hours a day, that they're either going to watch a movie, they're going to play a game because they're gamers and they got into, you know what I mean? They like playing video games, and sometimes they like playing video games that sort of resemble a shooter like the one that they play for professionally. Gosh darn it.
This is so
they
crazy.
play enough COD.
This is so crazy. Imagine seeing a clip of like
Ronaldo
like shooting a basketball. And be like, well, that's the reason they lost, because he was shooting hoops. Like, what idiots. I never understood that.
So I'm definitely tweeting your guys' perspective on this, right? It is always an interesting discussion because it's been a point for a few years in Call of Duty, and it feels strange to me that Dashy is like kind of thinking like, damn, I better not maybe stream this, just because if things don't go too well at the event, then people are going to be really on my case right about playing too much Valorant. But that's the thing. He's still putting in a shift in Call of Duty. I'm sure that Rambo and the rest of the team is making sure he's putting in a shift. And if anything, I think maybe some time away from the game could be beneficial, right? That's the thing. Is it really that beneficial? Like, I know Gunless used to do it back in the day, just playing like constant again and again. Like, I mean, he would just wake up at like, I don't know, what did he wake up at, like 4 p.m. or something, or 2 p.m., I don't know, just play pubs for the next few hours, then do scrims, because scrims back in the day used to be way later because people just couldn't wake up on time, I guess. So like, he would do the scrims at night, and then after the scrims had finished, he'd up in a ranked play or whatever and just play that for the rest of the day. Like, all he'd play was COD, but not necessarily always the greatest idea. You play a lot of Call of Duty, obviously it can get to your hands, I suppose, a little bit as well. So he wants to hop on, play something he enjoys for the rest of the day, and also like keep the competitive stuff high. And honestly, I kind of felt like this is maybe something that isn't necessarily relevant, but I almost feel like it was when I started playing Counter-Strike a bit back in 2017. I was still playing a lot of COD at the time and GBs, this type of stuff, and I generally felt like my performance in S&D actually improved by playing Counter-Strike, because it just puts your mind in a different space. And obviously Valorant is a similar game with like additional abilities and stuff, but it just puts your mind in a different space where it helps you think about search and destroy. It helps you think about like playing your life and like team play and stuff like this in a slightly different way. They can actually maybe give you some additional skills and repetitions that might transfer over, right? Like especially in certain situations, like how to play a 2 versus 1, you might pick something up from Valorant that you might be able to use in Call of Duty. And it's not like Dashy's not playing any Call of Duty anymore, right? Is that this he points out right here, he was playing some ranked play last night, 83 eliminations, 20 deaths. Like, look, not too bad at the end of the day. Apparently this is what he's got to do in rank to win by just 10 points, looking for Soka's right to team with at the end of the day. But yeah, that's what the guys were saying. Like, look, Formal, he's obviously at top pro in Halo, but he's also been grinding a lot of the Apex Legends recently, and at Dashy the same thing with Valorant. And as long as you're still putting in enough time to the main game, I feel like this isn't really going to affect your performance at all. As I say, it could even enhance it, right? And you've got to take some steps away. You can't play the game all that long because you're going to get burnt out of it, right? More than you would otherwise. And that's the thing, maybe what's happened to Scump in a way, playing an awful lot of the game, doesn't necessarily want to like play the game for scrims and all this type of stuff, and then also stream the game on top of that. Might have got a bit too much for him the last few weeks. So hopefully Dashy feels like at some point that he can stream Valorant and actually enjoy producing that type of content, because I'd love to watch him more often, to be perfectly honest, without feeling like the repercussions from the OpTic fans might come through. A few interesting interesting things here to finish out the video. Firstly, from the COD League, he makes it look so easy to say this is a nice little 1v3. It wasn't really 1v3, but he was on the other side of the map. From Shotzzy, of course, here on the Bakar, Search and Destroy, when they played Los Angeles Thieves at the event. And this is when Octane went 0-9 for the win in this map after Drazah ninja defused round 11. But speaking of Octane, he actually had a few words to say on this. If you guys have been around a few years, and we were speaking about World War II earlier, you guys might well remember the tree gate that kind of happened on Ardennes Forest, where this picture was effectively released, where in people's heads, like when they think about Ardennes Forest, they don't tend to think about all the trees that are just sitting over at the field side right here. But seemingly these trees were there the entire season, and like someone tweeted this out and was like, okay, are these trees always been there? And the post were like, okay, there's no way these trees have been there the whole time. Like, I've never even noticed these trees, but yet apparently they're just standing there right in the middle, and you know, I've never really seen them before. So that was all the rage back in the day, that okay, is this tree here, for example, actually here? Like, and then people went back to like old footage and it turns out they were there, and like everyone was going absolutely crazy about it. It's like Mandela effect type stuff. If you haven't heard of the Mandela effect, look it up. Kind of interesting, but don't want to completely blow your minds here on the Saturday evening. But you know, as Clay says, I honestly reckon we shifted into an alternate timeline which put all those trees there. That's what he reckons. Now, seemingly, Octane says here, there's another example on this game here in Berlin. So like, well, I don't obviously play much of this game at all to even know if this is accurate or not, or whether these trees actually don't exist. But he's saying right here that on these trees on the left-hand side here of Berlin, by this building, the trucks on the kind of back street, he reckons these trees only exist here in the actual loading screen, and they don't exist in the real game. So he reckons they exist on the loading screen, not on the actual map, right? That's kind of interesting stuff. Like, maybe they just made the loading screen at a different time to when they updated the final version of the map, but thought it was pretty interesting regardless. Maybe another tree gate on the way here in Call of Duty Vanguard. This also thought was crazy, right? Clay's been around for so long. He joined Twitter in 2008, and well, he apparently got this notification that he's been on the Bluebird for 14 years, and Fire40 says, you've been on this app 73% of my life, which is just like, that is absolutely absurd, to be honest. And well, a couple of other things on the teams to finish out with, because some really interesting details in here from Money Hill Stats. This is the hardpoint stats, team head-to-head records so far this year. Like, I mean, Breach are very interesting to me. Like, we can see a few interesting ones, the fact that FaZe are 4-0 versus Breach. OpTic, for example, are 4-1, I think, against FaZe, as you can see right here. There's a few teams that haven't even played each other yet, tried to like Rokkr Mutineers, you know, obviously Mutineers Rokkr as well, and some like OpTic, they haven't played each other yet this season, so definitely some interesting matchups we are hopefully going to have relatively soon indeed. Thieves, Breach also haven't played each other quite yet, and Ultra are negative, I believe, against everyone apart from the Mutineers. And the Minnesota Rokkr, right, I guess they're even against Surge and stuff, but yeah, the Ultra's record isn't looking particularly good. This is the other side of it, actually, the team records against the top 3, top 6, top 9, and top 12 teams. Very interesting to me. FaZe actually seem to perform better against the top 3 teams than they do against the top 6 teams, and the Ravens are kind of the other way around, as you might expect, but also Breach, right? Breach and Ravens in a very similar boat, right? It's interesting, actually, for Breach. They're 0-6 in hardpoints against the top 3 teams. So against FaZe, I guess, well, Ravens, and I guess Thieves is on this list. So against FaZe, Ravens, and I'm guessing OpTic, right, the top 3 in the league, they're 0-6 in hardpoints against them, but against like the bottom, you know, bottom 3 teams and the kind of bottom 6 teams, they've got a very impressive record, right? So interesting how this switches up, and some teams are like, you know, much better. For example, like the subliners, right? We saw what Clayster had to say a few days ago. There's, you know, they went on that 6-win streak in hardpoints, but like that was against the worst teams in the game, and it actually turns out to be true. 6-0 subliners against the worst 3 teams, but against everyone else, they're, what is this, like, you know, 1-15. So that's something they're certainly going to have to change, but definitely an interesting way to look at the stats here, I thought. And it is interesting to see Thieves' hardpoint record is actually tied for the second best in the game, despite it them falling off a cliff massively as of late. It's really been the other game modes that have let them down so far this season. But very much enjoyed your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. Tell the YouTube gods this is a good video. I'd also like you should see it as well. And help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.